Good morning, or I guess good afternoon in Central Time to everyone. Thank you so much for joining this webinar today. Um, Welcome to the Cultural Brokers Network of Canada, which is a nonprofit organization that supports and promotes the work of cultural brokers working in various sectors across Canada, and it was established in 2023. This is now, I guess, the third webinar, I believe, in our webinar series. So I will also put I will just put the website address in the chat. So people who might be um, unfamiliar with Cultural Brokers Network of Canada, I'll just put it in the chat. It's culturalbrokers.ca. My name is Jonathan Wade, so I am the Digital Communications Coordinator for the National Cultural Brokers Project, and I work at Manitoba Possible in Winnipeg. And I'll be the host for today's event. So today's session is looking at the 10 years of partnership between Calgary Catholic Immigrant Society's cultural brokers and Children and Family Services with the Government of Alberta. This webinar will take you through that 10-year partnership between CCIS and with their cultural brokers and the Government of Alberta's Children and Family Services, and it'll also examine the work cultural brokers do in relation to Children and Family Services. Before we introduce today's presenters, I would just like to go through a few housekeeping items. We've muted your microphone to allow for better clarity and less feedback. Your microphone will be unmuted for any interactive parts and any question and answer periods. Please feel free to type any questions you have in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as time permits. I believe this will be a bit more of an interactive presentation, so as questions come up, we can kind of answer them as we go and make it a bit more conversational rather than just everything at the end. But yeah, just type some questions in the chat or in that Q&A tab in Teams, and yeah, we'll definitely answer as many questions as we can. So I'll just introduce today's presenters. So they are Nour and Michelle Thiessen from Calgary Catholic Immigration Society in Calgary, Alberta. So Nour is the manager of the cultural brokerage program at Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, CCIS, in partnership with Calgary Children's Services. Nour oversees the day-to-day operations of the program. Nour has over 14 years of extensive career and experience in the settlement sector. He has dedicated most of his professional career to support newcomers with their settlement and integration needs, and he works closely with different ethnocultural communities and systems. Nour's professional experiences include programs management, design, evaluation, staff supervision, leadership, strategic planning, and community engagement. Nour has served on different boards and committees related to immigration, refugees, inclusion, diversity, and culture. Nour currently serves on the Grant Advisory Committee at the Calgary Foundation and director on the board of the Workers Resource Center. He also holds an MBA from the University of Vancouver Island. Michelle Thiessen joined the Calgary Catholic Immigration Society in 2019 as a cultural broker in partnership with Children and Family Services. She's a dedicated community advocate and liaison specializing in bridging the gap between children's services and immigrant families. Her role as a cultural broker is to provide essential education and understanding of the child welfare system in Alberta and ensure that immigrant families understand expectations of systems in Canada. With a deep-rooted belief in the power of community and cultural understanding, Michelle Thiessen continues to make a significant impact, striving to create a more inclusive and supportive environment for immigrant families in Canada. So we'll get started, and I'll send it over to you, Nour and Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Can you one here is me? Good.
Sorry, what was that?
Good. Thank you. I, on behalf of CCIS, the Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, would like to thank the National Cultural Brokers Network and Manitoba Possible giving us this great opportunity to present our program. Special thanks to Jonathan, Tracy, Sarah, and Samantha. We're happy to be part of work as a cultural broker under this great national umbrella. Thank you to all attendees. Thank you for taking the time to spend 1 hour with us. We're hoping that we'll be able to share our successful partnership that CCIS Cultural Brokerage Program has with the Children and Family Services Calgary region. Would also like to thank, I believe, a couple of my colleagues, cultural broker, who joined the conversation. I have Stella and Roslyn as well. Feel free to add any information and step in at any time. It's more of a conversation, and please feel free to text any questions you have or ask. We'll be more than happy. We'll try to have it as attractive as possible. This great partnership, I'll share my PowerPoint presentation. So, and share it here. It. The agenda for today is we'll start with introductions, and I believe we did most of it. Then overview of CCIS, the Calgary Catholic Immigration Society's partnership with Children and Family Services, role of cultural brokers, the benefit of engaging cultural brokers, the referral process. We only work with the children and we only accept referral from through children's services. I'll be more than happy to share some stats about our partnership. Then my colleague Roslyn will talk about the role of family violence brokers, and we'll be sharing some information about CCIS call down apartment for others, for men. And we'll be talking about CCIS language interpretation services, and we'll be open to discussions. I'll start with who we are as an organization. We're CCIS, the Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, based in Alberta, Calgary, southern Alberta. We're the largest settlement organization in Alberta with close to 500 staff members, over 15 locations. We have, as an organization, we offer 90 different programs and services, and collectively we speak 65 languages. We take care of the government-sponsored refugees, the private refugee sponsored refugees, permanent resident, and all newcomers, immigrant in Calgary and southern Alberta, from their settlement needs, resettlement needs, to their successful integration into our community here in Calgary and southern Alberta. The partnership that we have, CCIS has the cultural brokerage program, is one of the most successful partnership we had at CCIS for many years. Since 2014, it's 10 years in the making, where we have a contract with the Children and Family Services in supporting immigrant families who are involved with Children and Family Services. The main outcome of the program is supporting systems, one of them is Children and Family Services, among other systems, the justice, school system, police, and so on, working with ethnocultural communities, and mainly supporting immigrant families who are being involved with Children and Family Services. For the last 10 years, we supported over 5,800 family referral through Children and Family Services, with over 22,000 clients, including children. We're a team of 9 cultural brokers, 2 family brokers, and 1 supervisor, which is myself. Just start with the list of who we are as cultural brokers here. I'll start with Dina. So we have a team of, as I said, 12 cultural brokers. Dina, she's a cultural broker, Arabic-speaking cultural broker. She's in Syria, originally from Syria. Then we have Jose, originally from Afghanistan. She speaks Dari, Farsi, Pashto. We have Cindy, who's originally from China. She speaks Mandarin. Elizabeth, originally from Peru and speaks Spanish. Then we have Stila, which we're happy to have her part of the conversation today, originally from Burundi, and she speaks French, Swahili, Kirundi, and Kinyarwanda. We have Farzana, originally from Bangladesh. She speaks Bengali, Hindi, and Urdu. Then we have Elias, originally from Ethiopia. He speaks Amharic, Oromo, Tigrinya, and Russian. We have Reena, originally from India. She speaks Hindi, Urdu, and Punjabi. And we have Michelle. She introduced herself, originally from the Philippines. Roslyn, originally from Philippines. Both of them speak Tagalog. And we have Candy, originally from Nigeria. He's our male family violence broker and cultural broker. He speaks Yoruba, Bini. And myself, Nouruddin. I go by Nour, originally from Morocco. First language is Arabic. My second language is French. Uh, I'll pass it on to my colleague, Michelle, to elaborate more on the role of cultural broker. Michelle?
Thank you, Nour. So, I guess a little bit of history. Like we said, Cultural Brokerage Program is a partnership between CCIS and the Ministry of Children's Services. We are funded by Alberta Human Services. It was co-developed in 2014 to address the identified need for enhanced culturally responsive services for culturally diverse families involved with children and family services. In a sense, they Children and Family Services actually called out themselves and said, how can we make our work better when it comes to working with immigrant families? So, uh, the birth of the cultural brokerage came from a dialogue between CCIS and the managers of children's services, and it has been one of our successful partnership with CCIS. 10 years ago, we are celebrating our 10 years of working together, and we never looked back. So, our support is with immigrant families. We are liaisons between the families and children and family services, child intervention practitioners. We only work with immigrant families uh, uh, or with those who are in a blended family. A lot of people are asking why only immigrant families, because there is that need for understanding of the roles and expectations of the process of children and family services. We provide cultural interpretation, and we always say cultural interpretation is different from just the language interpretation. So instead of just interpreting or translating what we call the he said, she said verbatim, we provide more than that. We try and give uh, both CFS workers the understanding of why families are doing the things that they are doing, based from their values, based from their country of origin, even sometimes based from their religious beliefs. And we are there working with the children and family services, the child intervention practitioners, from the very beginning. As soon as we get them referral, we would want to be with them from beginning until the end, or even after. So we get referrals only from CFS, from Children and Family Services, and our main goal is to, or our main role is to connect them with community resources, either as advised or recommended by CFS workers, uh, educate them with the system's expectations. Most of the immigrant families would not know what Children and Family Services is, or if they do, it would have the image, the concept of they are there to take away our children. It goes beyond that, as we all know. One of the feedback that we got from the worker is that they wish to have the cultural brokers in all of their meetings, because we, as according to them, are there to soften. We use the softening words. For CFS, they use big words, scary words when they work with the families, saying um, we would hear the words apprehension or safety and protection. We're there to soften the words and to make it easier for family to hear, understand, and act upon once they have better understanding of why they are there. And then vice versa. We also, like I said initially, for us, one of our role is for the workers to look at a different perspective. They may say some family uh, would say, with the Filipino families, for example, we do with babies. Sometimes we do things like um, it's a little sensitive, but we would touch them. There was a report that the one of the moms sexually touch the private parts of the baby. And so in our culture, um there is a normality. It sometimes is normal for families, for parents to touch or play. It's a playful caressing the private parts of the baby. In here, it could be considered as a sexual assault. And so we're trying to explain it and then and assess it if it really is uh, an offense or something that is cultural in nature. And then, of course, from there, we wanted to educate them or connect them with programmings or services to for them to know, for them to learn what are the expectations, what are the processes, be it parenting programs, or counseling, family violence, which you will know later on, and other community programs that we have here in Calgary and the area. Um, our goal, along with that, we are there to work in consultation, and like we said, as a partner with CFS workers on the progress of the family until they close the file or until we see that there are no more role for the cultural broker, and then which can result or which can lead to us closing the file.
Thank you. Michelle, can I just step in for 1 sec if you don't mind? Michelle,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
Go
I
ahead.
just like to add that the 12, thank you so much, Michelle. Just to add to the role of cultural broker, we're a team of 12 cultural brokers. We're all full-time, Monday to Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. Sometimes we'll work after hours. Where we're not freelancers, we work on, as I said, Monday to Friday, always available for children's services to child welfare. If there is an emerge, most of our cases an emerge. There is a family, Middle East family, then cultural broker from who speaks Arabic will be more than happy to go for that initial home visit to visit family along with social worker. Same thing with our other cultural broker from different. They are co-located in different offices, but the Spanish-speaking cultural broker is available anytime during weekdays to support Spanish-speaking families and vice versa. We do proper professional case management. All the 5,800 families, we all receive a formal referral from the child welfare. We open a file. The program is being accredited, so we do our settlement opening of the file from start to closure. Our main role, as we said, is provide cultural interpretation and building two capacities. With immigrant and newcomers, we do a lot of sharing information and education on system expectation. Most of our team, they've been with the program for last 10 years, so they're well aware of the child protections and other protection concerns, and they'll be more than happy to share with the families in their first language and the pace that family may understand why systems been involved. And same thing with our colleague from Children and Family Services, we support their case management by providing cultural nuances, cultural interpretation, and back home cultural practices that's been accepted back home, they may not be seen as good practice or appropriate in Canada. Michelle, if you don't mind talking about the benefit of engaging a cultural broker.
Thank you.
Mm.
So yeah, like what Nour said, we are when we are located in every CFS sites. Right now, Calgary has 11 children and family services offices, but they're trying to I think integrate it into I think 4 big locations. We are there inside their offices. um, it helps us and it helps them for a prompt response. They are aware of what we are. And like what Noor said, we get the referral. Once we get the referral, they'll send it to us through an email or sometimes just a phone call. And then we do a quick consultation, a quick phone call with them just to get to know more about how we can support the family. We try our best to work depending on the culture. For example, if I speak Tagalog, then I get most of the Tagalog speaking families, but it doesn't end there. We can work with all immigrant families that they are being referred to us. You will know later on, we do have the support of the interpreters. We have the interpretation services, and among 11 of us cultural brokers, we do speak somewhere around 22 languages, if I'm not mistaken there. So, we from the beginning, once we get the referral, we spoke to the worker, and sometimes we would even facilitate if the worker is having difficulty to um, connect with the families again, because either they were scared or they are ignoring CFS because they are afraid that they will take the kids away. We do facilitate the initial contact and just briefly explain to them our role. We always say that our role is a voluntary. We're not with Children's Services, and it helps us, and it also helps the family to, like I said, to mm, be softer a little bit, in the sense that when they see us, when they hear us, they see someone that is similar to them. They see someone that look like them from the same community. They can easily talk in their same language, and they are able to express themselves better. And so they are getting the feel that they have an ally already, just by connecting, just by that initial talk with us. We are, as this said, the liaison between families, CFS, and community resources. So as we go along and start working with the families, CFS would suggest some supports or some programs to make some changes from the family, or to help support the family in addressing the concerns. Um, our role is to connect them with the resources that will help them make those changes or improve their family. Like I said, parenting programs, anger management, couples counseling. And in so doing, we also help them understand the significance or the benefits of these resources, of these programs, of engaging to these programs. As we know, when it comes to immigrant communities, immigrant families, there's always that stigma of why would I do counseling? I'm not insane, or I'm not mentally ill, or when they hear the word family violence, we're not when my husband and I are not being physical with each other, we yell at each other, or a mom would say, I threw I threw something at the wall, not to him. So that's not part of family violence. So our role is not to provide them with the education, but to briefly give them the idea that when we refer them to say family violence, this is what you're going to learn. When it comes to family violence, the chronic yelling and hitting and fighting between parents would impact the mental brain development of children. Another benefit or advantage of engaging with us is that we also have the lived experience of migration and settlement. I, for example, came in 2017. I came to Canada under the Live-in Caregivers program. And so I am aware of that pathway. And so I am able to relate my experience to the families that I work with. Sometimes we share our own experiences with our children, be it in the past or in current, because they find it more um, satisfying. They find it more relatable, mm, that we are in the same boat. We're not perfect. However, we are there to guide them and help them seek some support to improve, to make some changes within their family. Nor, can you go back, please? And again, we always emphasize we're not just language interpretation or language interpreters. We do provide the cultural or sometimes religious interpretation for the families, and vice versa. One this morning, actually, one of the workers said it's really more for when the families would say, no, I don't want to work with someone from my own community. Workers would then say, it's not just for you. Cultural brokers are also there to help us understand your culture better. And then, yeah, do you have any questions? Or some of the, oh, okay.
Go ahead. Sure.
Some of the feedback that we have received along the way, brokers are able to make a family feel comfortable and less fearful of CFS. Again, as we know, they have the concept of CFS workers apprehending the children. They're just here to break away the family. They're here to separate the families. So our role is to mitigate that idea and say, hey, it's actually the other way around. We're here to make to give you some help, some support in making sure that your family would have a healthier relationship. And they said we help them do their jobs better. It makes them more tolerant and understanding of the issues our families are faced with. We're not there to give them anything. We're not doing the protective side. Our role is to support these workers in making sure that the concerns, the reported concerns, are addressed, and that they take action on those concerns, and hopefully to never go back to the system again, never be involved again because they made those changes. It's not just interpretation and translation, it's beyond that, and they bring a level of awareness that we lack agency wide. One other feedback that we heard is that we are an added safety to the family, wherein when we come with a worker on a home visit, um, it lowers down the tension between the families, and of course the workers, because they see an ally, they see someone who they can um, talk to in their own language, and that makes a big difference already, because it is already stressful to hear that the government is after them, wanting to talk to them. And then sometimes language could also, most times, language can also be a barrier.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Just like to add that there is a stigma among immigrant cultural families here in Calgary and area, but children's services are here to take away, apprehend children. So part of the partnership that we have with the Family and Children Services was clear from day one. They have no intention of parenting immigrant children. However, they would like us as CCIS cultural broker to work with family to help build their capacity. Once they see the parents, they are aware of the child protection, they can protect their children, they'll go ahead and close the file. So one of the reasons having our partnership is to ensure that we support their families in building their capacity. What's that could be positive parenting, family balance, address their mental health, and so on. So our role as a cultural broker, we're not service providers. We're mainly that liaison, a broker between children and family services, immigrant families, the community at large, service providers, and ethnocultural communities. And then we're into the referral process. Michelle,
Quickly, maybe.
Yeah.
We do get the referral, like we said, directly from the CFS workers. And then once we do that, they can either give it to us through the referral form that we have sent them, or sometimes they can just call, or because we are in the same location as them, they can just go to our desks, our offices, and say, hey, are you able to do a discussion with me and see if that is something that we can do or work together, to have that initial consultation. As much as possible, we wanted to be there right from the beginning. We do a joint visit, a joint first home visit to the family, and it gives us the capacity to build that rapport with the families. Sometimes when workers are unable to take us during the first visit, they will schedule another visit for mainly for introduction to us, just to give that little push of, hey, I have the referral for you to work on, to work with a cultural broker. Having said that, with this one, we can close the file with the expectation that you will be working with the broker to address those needs. And with the visit, we make sure that we tell the families it is voluntary. Our role or our services are voluntary, but it will make a big difference, or it will make a huge impact if they work with us, because we report back to the worker. And then, yeah, again, these are some of the things that we have and us discuss. We're not, like what Nour said, we're not, it's not our job to do the education piece, but we do the referral. We liaise them to where we have where we see they needed for support or programs. We have been working. Most of us have been working in the role in the position since the inception from 10 years ago. And we are also very connected with the community services, the community supports that are available. We have a huge pool of network between us, and we are constantly learning and relearning what is out there to benefit our families.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Quickly, because of the time, this is the country of origin of families we received from Children and Family Services, Child Welfare. At the highest, as you can see, I'm not surprised to the team that joining the conversation today. You know, Philippines is one of the source countries of immigrants coming to this beautiful country. Then we followed by India, China, Pakistan, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Vietnam, South Sudan, Afghanistan, Colombia, Mexico, Bangladesh. This is in line of the brokers. We have a broker from the Philippines, that's why we have a highest number. Broker from India, broker from China, and so on. In terms of the family concern, well, we received those referrals, requests from Children's Services. Half of the concern are family violence and the inappropriate discipline. That's why we were happy. We started the program 2014. After 4 years, Children and Family Services, they were grateful. We amended the contract, and we were happy to have both male and female family violence brokers working, supporting. They are part of the team. One of them is Roslyn. I'll pass the mic to her soon to talk a little bit about family violence sessions. And we have a counterpart, a male family violence, to work mainly with the dads. Type of support we cultural broker provide on a daily basis is cultural interpretation with a lot of education on family violence, on protection concern to the families, and education on systems expectation to the families that we work with a lot of information sharing, consultation with CFS workers, and we do a lot of case logistic, and most of our works are referral to community resources. Here is just like the referral source from Children's Services. If you're familiar with Calgary, so McKnight in the north side, then south Forest Lawn, this is our 12 of CFS child welfare sites in Calgary. Before we move it to family violence, I stop sharing for 2 minutes. If you have any questions, then before I share with the floor with my colleague Roslyn to talk about family violence. Any questions?
Yeah, I believe we had one. I believe we had one come in from Mara, who asked, "What are the similarities and differences among the service provided by a cultural broker and a social worker?"
Where I can
go ahead.
Answer that. We are, although we have some workers that are registered social workers, we're not, most of us are not social workers. And we do, when we go, like I said, when we go visit or when we work with the families, we make sure that they understand that we're not children's services. We're not children and family services. So we're not there to talk, to discuss them about the protection concerns. We're mainly there to provide them the understanding of what their roles are. So we work as a support to these workers, the social workers, and then we help them find those resources when necessary.
Yeah. So I might, if I got the question correct, the social workers, for us, we refer to the Children and Family Services. They are all social workers, and their mandate is the child protection. And our role as a cultural broker, you'll be surprised, we speak collectively 22, 23 languages, but none of us is professional language interpreter, translator. We're not certified, and purposely, because we don't want any one of us to go for a family visit there is a child protection, there is an emergency or a high risk, and saying he said, she said, our children's services, they give us enough space of providing that cultural interpretation. The mom or the dad might say a word, it might take a cultural broker 5 minutes to explain it, and vice versa. So they're giving us that privilege, that space where a cultural broker will take his or her time of explaining to both parties, the social worker from the government and to immigrant families who happen to have a situation where children's services being involved in their family. I hope we understand.
Perfect.
Good.
And I actually had a question too about I
Yeah,
put in the chat about just how long usually does a cultural broker work with a family? Like is it often one, kind of a one-time incident thing, or is it, usually an ongoing process, or is it kind of case by case?
It's great question, Jonathan. It's really case by case, but the program being accredited by CARF International, so we have usually we sign the confidentiality agreement for 6 months, up to 6 months. If there is need for us to extend the support of the families, we need to sign another confidential agreement with the family. So consent form. So we work with family until their settlements need being addressed. We don't really tackle the child protection because it's not our mandate as CCIS. Our main role, if family doesn't speak English, we see it as the big concern as CCIS, because this situation family might get involved. Another involvement with children's services could be with other systems as well. One of them is mental health, the trauma, housing, employment, you name it. So our role as CCIS, again, under the settlement umbrella, is ensuring families' needs being addressed. And we open and close our file regardless of the status of children's services. As Michelle mentioned, sometimes a worker may go for a home visit for child protection for one time. They might not see a risk. They go ahead and close the file. We keep the file open because the family would like to work with us. They would like their needs to be addressed, or vice versa. Sometimes a worker might have a file open for 1 year, 2 years because there is a child protection, where we don't feel there is need for a cultural broker once we address the settlement needs of the families. Jonathan, did I answer your question?
Yes, no, that was perfect. Thank you.
I'll just do the family violence because of the time. I'll
Sure.
share Yangar for 5 minutes. I have my colleague Roslyn to talk about the family violence component of the program. Roslyn, if you're around, please.
Here, I'll
Yeah, future.
I will unmute you, Roslyn.
Thank you.
Hey, Roslyn, I believe you're able to unmute now.
Thank you, Jonathan. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roslyn, and most of my friends call me Rosie. So just to make it sweet and short because of the time. My role, I believe, is the fruit of the successful partnership of CCIS and the Children's Services. And as you notice in the report that Nour presented earlier, the number one issue that family are facing is the domestic violence. So the difference of my role compared to the cultural brokers is they are a case managers. So they are the one referring clients to the resources available in the community, while I am a service provider. So I provide education and awareness regarding family violence, the system's expectations, that's one of my mandate, and also discussing the effect and impact of violence to children living in an abusive environment. And the family violence program, I deliver 3 sessions for those mandate, and we have 2 in a team. There is a female, which I am, and we have a male, a family violence broker, because we found out that there are cultures who are not comfortable talking about other issues with regards with sexuality and other aspect of manhood. So that's when, again, where the male family violence broker came in. And yeah, so the family violence, my mandate, like I'd mentioned, is talking about the family violence. What are the types of abuse? And also the wrap up of that session is to let them understand, and I ask the question where, when, and how you should break that cycle so that it will not become repetitive. And yeah, so that's mainly my role as a family violence broker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. And the last component we have here is the CCIS part of the program. Again, we're happy to again made an amendment to the program of having the CCIS call down apartments. So we have 2 apartments available for families who are involved with the children and family services. It's mainly for fathers. If a children's services go for a home visit, and instead we thought that CCIS, Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, instead of asking the mom and children to move to a shelter, which sometimes it might not be culturally responsive to the family's faith, cultural practices, and so on. If there is a way a caseworker would like the dad to leave the house and home and come to CCIS. It's CCIS own apartment building, and we've been given for last 3 years 2 apartments. We have 2 rooms in each apartment where a dad will stay for up to 1 month, and just mainly a reflection. While children's cultural broker, social worker works with the mom and children, they can still work with the dad at CCIS apartments, and the dad will be attending any community resources. Could be parenting program, anger management, addiction treatment, and so on, while his children still going to the same school and not have to change home. It's not a shelter. It's again residential building, a brand new apartment where the dad. It's been one of the, I believe, the unique initiative in Canada, which we've been running for last 3 years, and it's always busy. We always have 4 dads in the apartment. Again, because of newcomers that sometimes they might not, if they are asked to leave the house. We don't have shelter for fathers in Calgary. We only have 1, but it's outside of Calgary and it's always busy. So we do ask them if there is a way of having that staying at CCIS apartment. Eligibility criteria is usually that there, no friends. They will be staying there. If they have to work, they still go to work. If they have to take any court mandated program, they still do it while working with our main family violence broker who's in charge of the apartments and the cultural broker who's the case manager. Again, as I said, 4 dads in the apartment, and service provided to fathers and their families is similar that we provide to the mom and children, connect them to community resources.
Oh, and I believe we have a hand up from
Yeah.
Because
of the time. Because of the time, just we'll leave it for. We still have 7 minutes.
Yeah,
if you have any questions from the floor, we'll be more than happy. I believe we have.
Here, Eileen, I'll make your mic available, so I believe you can unmute yourself now.
Yeah.
If you'd like to ask a question. Aline, I believe.
Aline? She's still muted.
Yeah, you can either unmute yourself or you can.
Good question. One of the question Hope is for is it? I believe the question is Hope is for it. Is it the apartment? If it's the apartment, we for last 2 years it's been supported by CCIS. We're grateful to our leadership. But as of this year, as CFS, Children and Family Services, they are paying for the 2 apartments. Families that they are not paying for it. If I address the question, so the service itself, it's paid by the government of Alberta.
Yeah, the apartment is an amazing program, especially since, as we know, Calgary is getting expensive. So although we know that family violence is not a protection concern with CFS, the exposure to family violence impacts the kids. And so when CFS would then identify that parents needed to separate themselves from each other for a little bit, instead of like what Nour said, mom and kids moving out or going to a shelter, we offer the apartment to the dads, and it just makes them a lot more confident that they have a place to go to reflect, to talk to our male family violence broker and get that feeling of realization, of reflection, of what they did, the behaviors, and its impact to his family.
Any final
Right.
thought, feedback, questions? Yeah.
I believe Elaine's question was, about who owns the apartment to accommodate the families and for how long. But I guess
good question. We own the apartment, so it's an apartment building. We're lucky at CCIS to own the building, and we were lucky enough to have this two apartment being allocated for this program. Again, it's not a shelter, it's not a transitional housing, it's residential. We have other tenants there. A dad will go there like he's in a hotel or he's renting somewhere else. Nobody would know what's going on with his family. If he's working, he still go to work. If he goes to school, he still goes to school. Nothing changed. He's just changing the address. And he stayed there for 1 month to build the capacity while Rosalind working with the mom to build her capacity with regards to the impact of family violence. If they decide to get together, that's perfect. If we don't, again, we don't interfere of what family decide. But if they decide to get together, we ensure as a cultural broker that both capacity being built of the mom and the dad. Because usually how system works here, the main focus is on victims, but we just feel as we don't label victim, perpetrator, CCIS. They are all immigrant and they are all here. They are all come for a better future for themselves, for their families. And we do work them from that principle. We work with both mom and dad to ensure they have a successful life along with their children in Canada.
It is a nice place. It's not like it's nothing like a shelter or nothing like a shelter. They have the dads who would have their own room. They can cook whenever they want to. We just don't provide the food itself, but they go there. It's nearby the train station, so they can go take the train, or if they can park outside, and nothing will be like what Nour said. Nothing is changed except for a month they will be going there. That's why it's called a cool down apartment, to just cool down and rethink of their actions. I see safety criteria. Just like what Nour said, we don't accept anyone who's got some mental health issues or addiction issues.
We have rejected a lot of that because again, if we feel there is a potential risk for the dad, we don't want anyone to be self-harm. We accepted that they're really well. Again, they are in good conditions. They've been normal children's services. They felt they are the right fit for the apartment. Then I always go ahead with recommendation of children's services. If there is like a high risk, because again, nobody is there. Sometimes the dad will have another dad in the other room, but sometimes they might end up being alone in the apartment. So we would prefer we only accept that we feel they're safe while staying at CCIS apartment for, as I said, up to 1 month. We do extend it as needed, but usually it's not a housing fixing situation. It's not our mission at CCIS, but rather than part of the case management when a cultural broker and CFS caseworker feels that they need some amount separation for both of them to reflect and to build their capacity.
And from dads, we have had feedback of they feel that they are dignified because it's, like I said, it's nothing like a shelter. they still have that all the amenities, and they are able to think without feeling judged, that they are there, that they were kicked out of the home. And I know that we're only talking about dads, but it's we have instances that we have accepted adult kids who are in need of that cool down apartment.
Thank you, everyone. Jonathan has promised 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock here. Your time. The mic is yours.
Right on the money.
Floor is yours, yeah.
Well, perfect. Yeah,
We
thank
can
you so
talk.
much.
We can talk forever. Jonathan.
Thank you so much. Maybe we'll do a part 2 at some point for sure, and we can continue it. But yeah, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for the questions, and certainly I think if you have any more, I'm sure you can reach out. I don't know if you both want to put your, I don't know if you want to put your email addresses or anything in the chat,
For
but
sure.
just to see if anybody else has any questions. But just, yeah, thank you so much. Nour and Michelle and Rosalind as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us and for that really, really informative and thoughtful presentation. If you want to learn more about us and CBNC, or if you're interested in becoming a member, again, the website details are in the chat there. It's culturalbrokers.ca. But yeah, please follow us on social media to stay updated on what we're doing to support cultural brokers across the country. And yeah, take care. And I hope to see one of you or all of you at one of our upcoming webinars or events or anything that we're doing. But thank you so much. And thank you,
Thank you so
Nour
much,
and Michelle
Jonathan.
and Rosalind.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.